Welcome everyone to Women Living Well After 50. I'm Sue Long-Carrick and I'm joined by the lovely Peta Gillian from Strong Healthy Women today. We've been doing a series on the 5 essential steps to getting started living an active and healthy lifestyle. And today we're going to be doing our final step, taking our final step 5. So Peter, it's lovely to have you.
Thanks, Sue. Pleasure as always. Looking forward to digging into this one.
Yes. Well, we've covered our why. We've covered our
decision.
Decision. The
start.
Yep.
The commitment.
And now it's on to, what are we up to today?
Support. Yeah, most of us actually struggle a little bit with motivation, and so it goes up and down like a bit of a roller coaster ride. So when it comes to, staying on track and keeping ourselves focused, it's really, really important to have, good, solid support around us. And sometimes that support can come in different places as well too. So you might start, for example, you might start an exercise program and you might very much start it alone. And I know for myself personally, that's what happened with me. I knew that I needed to actually start exercising because I'd gone through this health issue. And I remember walking into a gym at that point and I didn't know anybody, and it's quite daunting and it's quite scary when you go through that process. But when you actually create this level of consistency with your workouts, what happens is you find that the people around you, you get to know them because, you're going at the same time or you're seeing the same familiar faces. And so, you might start by, just a bit of a nod and hello. But what transpires from that is that you start to meet other people who are very much like you, who are wanting to build this healthy life. And so you start to form, some level of friendship, gym buddies, if you want to call them. And they're the people that can really can support you. And so that support person has come to you after you've already got started. So, but sometimes you need those support people to help you get started as well too. So support comes in all different shapes and sizes, just like our beautiful bodies. They come in all different shapes and sizes.
Yeah. Well, as you say, you'll probably go through the different types of support, but it is, I think, so much easier to stay on track if you've got a gym buddy or a workout buddy because you're making that commitment to meet them at a certain time. And if one of the other is feeling a bit, loss of motivation or something, you sort of help the other person along. But also then you might need that professional support, which I think you were just alluding to.
Yeah, that comes up as well too. But I thought what might be a good idea is, and I'm just going to wind it back a little bit and start with it from a home perspective.
Yeah.
So one of the places that we can get support from are those that are actually in the house with us if we happen to live with other people. And so when you can get them on board, then what happens is they're going to hold you accountable. Well, you hope that they're going to hold you accountable. And here's the thing, is that when you're thinking about who's going to support you, are they going to support you in the manner that you want to be supported, or are they going to be throwing these little obstacles on you? And so often I hear that, my significant other, my husband, he is so supportive. He's really, really wanting me to do this, and he's there for me 100%. And he totally is. But what happens is sometimes that significant other then goes, oh, you've been working so hard. So what I've done is I've bought you a treat. And So they can certainly be an obstacle for you. That person, even though they're supporting you, they're also trying to derail you as well too. And this is where it's really, really important for you as that person who's on this pathway is to actually say, here's my parameters. I know that you want to celebrate the wins with me and everything like that, but this is what I want from you. I don't want you to buy me the chips, the chocolates, the, you know, the lollies or the cakes or cream buns or whatever it happens to be. I want you just to support me in a manner that keeps me on track. And when I'm feeling unmotivated, because that's going to happen, I want you to say, look, you've done so well. What can I do to help you? Come on, let's go for a walk. Or let's, you know, walk the dog. Or let's go do a few squats in the yard. So you want them to actually step up and really get you over that obstacle that you're in at that point.
I think, oh, sorry, I was just going to say that I think it's important that you do set your parameters, and because you don't always get support from home, it'll be something like, oh, what do you want to do that for? Or you're looking okay to me, or there'll be some reason to pull you down. And I think that you have to find that this is where your commitment comes in, I suppose, and your why is you have to come back to that and really say to the family or your significant other or whoever's in the house, this is so important to me, and I really need you to respect that and respect what I want and to help me, you know, and to really be supportive. And if you can't be supportive, then okay, for whatever reason, but please don't try and you know, do things that are going to pull me down because I really want to do this. Do you find that that's important to get that message out there?
And the other thing about it, Sue, is that they might be scared as well too, because if you're going through this process and you're making changes in your life, they very much probably love you the way you are, and they don't want you to change. And so it's like, what will that change mean to them, and how will that impact them? And so from our perspective as the person doing it, we need to respect that as well too, and be able to say to them, you know, this is what I want from you. It's not going to change how we are together, but this is my expectation. So, and you do need to get that little level of reassurance as well too.
That's a good point.
Yeah. The other one is, you know, the girlfriends as an example. So what can happen there is, and I know that you've had this situation yourself, Sue, because we have spoken about it, where you've gone, I'm going to do a marathon. And so a friend will say, okay, what do you need for me to do to help you, to help support you? But that really, that one who wants to really support you, they'll say to you, oh, I've always wanted to do that too, or I'm going to do it with you. So that way you're keeping one another on track as well too. So when they're not totally committed, what can happen is, let's say, for example, you're out and about and the wine starts coming and, you know, you say, I'm not drinking. They can possibly say to you, oh, hang on, it's only one. And so then you're having to rely on willpower. And of course, we know that willpower, particularly by the time we get to the evening or the afternoon, it's one of those things that is really, really hard to fight. So, and that's why we see, you know, lots of people snacking of an evening these days. So it's a stat that we've got going on right now in our free group, Women Over 50 Get Active and Healthy. I've just asked that question. When do your snacks hit you? Afternoons, or is it, you know, evenings? And evenings are winning so far. So, and I suspect that evenings will be that time as well too.
Yeah.
Then the other form of support that you can get is from someone who's professional in the field that you're wanting support from. So if you're someone who's going to be running a marathon, then you want someone who's had experience in training marathon runners. If you're wanting to, do yoga, then you want support from someone who understands yoga and who can take you through the stages that you need to go through. So you need the level of support that you need. And this is the thing, is generally when you're coming into a new program, a new exercise program, you're starting out, and those people that are around you, are so far into the journey. They're ahead of you possibly. So you're generally on your own there, and so that can be intimidating in itself. So your personal trainer or your group trainer or your instructor, they need to be able to put you at ease as well too, and help you feel like you are supported from that very first moment that you get started. So if you come in and you start and you don't feel like you're included, then that can be a real deterrent as well too. And that's where in a lot of instances we see people come in, they start, they might go to 3 or 4 sessions, and then all of a sudden, you don't see them at all. And that is a common story. And it's something that we talked about when we were talking about decisions as well. So, finding the right place, finding that place that you feel comfortable in. And that's where you're going to get that support from.
That's right.
So when you're making that decision right up front, you can feel the level of support that you're going to get moving forward.
And it does help to keep you motivated and excited, I think, because if you are supported in different areas and you it just makes life so much easier, and you've got a bit of a safety net really for when you aren't going so well. And we all have moments like that where we think, oh, I just can't do it, and that's where you need your cheerleaders to be there saying, yes, you can, and we're there with you. What can we do to help? We'll get you through it. And it just makes all the difference. And you form friendships as well. That's what I've done. I've formed that with the running group and with Strong Healthy Women. You form those friendships, you've got a common goal, and it just helps to feel part of a community, or as they say these days, you find your tribe, and you just feel part of it all.
You do. And the thing is that for most of us, we can't do it alone. We like to have someone around us. Even with those that are introverts, so we have introverts and extroverts, even people who are introverts still like to know, they might not be those people who are talking so much, but they still like to know that they've got somebody there holding their hands each step of the way. And getting to know who you are as a person and getting to know what it is that you want to achieve is part of the process. So going back to that why that we talked about in session number 1, that why is ever so critical, and sharing that with your support team is really, really important, because they understand then that this is super critical to you and why it's so important to you. And I think sometimes what we do is that we say, I'm going to start an exercise program, but we don't give the reasons why. And if you think about it, women in general like to know why. If we ask them to do something, we want to know why we're going to be doing that thing. And so if you put yourself in those shoes when you're making these changes, always explain why it is important to you, because then you're going to get the level of support that you want as you're going through this journey.
And I think if you tell people why, they understand where you're coming from, they understand what's important to you, and they will probably be able to remind you of that when you forget when you're feeling a bit low or you're ready to give up, though, if you can't remember what your why is, they can remind you of it and keep reinforcing that as well. Remember, you said this is why you wanted to do it. And so support is so important. Any other areas of support that we can draw on when we're going for our goals and wanting to get started and moving along?
I think internally, Sue, that is one of the biggest support systems that you can have for yourself, because ultimately we're the ones doing it. So finding that way that supports yourself is really important. Now, for me, meditation and journaling is a really important part of a daily routine for me. And that's how I get my support, because there's no judgment in a journal. I can just write whatever I want to write. And what it does is it allows me to get it out on a page, and that it feels like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. If I'm struggling with something, so as an example, if I was struggling with, after dinner snacking as an example, and I keep writing this in my journal all the time, I'll start to ask myself the questions, what am I feeling like? Why am I feeling like this? Is it an emotion? What is the emotion associated with it? And what it does do is it helps me then work through that process. And so it gives me that extra little bit of a nudge in order to move past whatever that obstacle's been. So in this case, it was just after dinner snacking, but it could be anything. So as an example, you make that commitment that you're going to exercise every day, but you then find that life gets in the road, and so you stop doing it. And so when you write that down, I didn't exercise today, how does it make you feel? Is it making you feel a little bit uneasy? Yeah.
Well, I usually feel guilty. I sort of go, I should have done that. And there's been times when I've actually said, no, I'm not doing it today. And then about, all day I'll think about it, and in the end I'll go and do it because I've I've guilted myself into actually going and doing it, and then I feel better afterwards. But I hadn't actually thought about the support from within and things like, resources like journaling to help you.
Totally brilliant. And I know it's something that, is not for everybody, but I am an absolute firm believer in it. And I did a live on Instagram on Sunday morning. So my ritual is I wake up, I put on my meditation music, I meditate, and that doesn't take me very long at all. And then I journal about my day, what my intention is, what I appreciate that day. And here's the key to appreciation as well too, or gratitude. Don't write the same thing every day, write something different. So, really branch out that little bit more. And, I generally, as a rule, on Sunday, that's one of my big motivation days. It's one of the days where I do quite a bit of exercise. And I woke up and I just went, bleh. I was feeling totally unmotivated. And so you got to see me feeling unmotivated because I did do a video on it. And what happened was I had to dig deep, and it was, I know that exercise gives me energy. I know that exercise makes me feel better. And so I went, okay, I'm going to do one set of HIIT exercises, which is around about 5 minutes of exercise. And so I got in there and I started off nice and slow and steady, and I put music on because music is one of those things that can lift my spirits. So I can generally work out alone without any music whatsoever, but that day, I wanted music. So I put something on that I really, really enjoyed. And with that, I found that I did the second set and I did the third set. I still wasn't feeling like myself. I wasn't, like totally upbeat. But what I found was after I did that, I went and had some brekkie, and I just sat for a moment, and then I went for a walk in the sunshine around the paddocks, and I really found that that was the thing that I needed. It just lifted my spirit. So I didn't do everything that I would normally do because I go and do a mountain hike, and I really love Sundays. But, when you're feeling unmotivated, going to the journal or sitting in some stillness and really connecting with yourself gives you the support that you need. You just need to be a little bit honest about it. That's all.
And I think that's another point
scary.
too. Yeah, well, that's right. We don't want to be honest with ourselves, or we'll make up all the excuses under the sun and not to really face reality. But I think that it's also good to understand that, yes, we will have days when we don't feel like doing it, and we don't, and we just don't. But that doesn't mean that you've failed. It means that, okay, well, today I didn't do it, but tomorrow you can get stuck, like the next day you can get back on track. You can always get back on track. And that's where having that support around you. And I think from just talking to you now, I've been thinking that, having some sort of a plan or a ritual, schedule, if it's a workout you want to do, or whatever sort of exercise you want to do, even going for a walk or whatever, make it part of your day and schedule it in. And as you said, you've got a morning ritual, things like that. I think it's so much easier to stay on track when you've got it planned in, like an appointment. And the thought about just trying to, I think it just comes down to, you do have to dig deep sometimes and know that once you've done it, you will feel better. So, you'll feel good, I've done it. And I think it's important also to celebrate your wins and to let people in your support group know that you're having a win, as well as the times when you're not traveling too well.
Yeah, totally, Sue. And I mean, the thing is that sometimes you don't feel like it, but really dig deep those days, because are you just giving yourself an out? So go and do 5 minutes. I would always say, that 5 minutes can be just what you need. But if you're feeling unwell or something, totally different story. But what you're looking for here is consistency. You really do need to do it day in, day out, until it just becomes second nature for you. And it's just like brushing your teeth. You didn't know how to do that. You learned how to do it. And so we're learning to create this daily practice. And that's what it is. Everything we do in life is about practicing. It's not about, we call them habits, we call them routines, we call them all of those things. But I always like to refer to them as practice, because we're never perfect at them. We're always just practicing whatever it happens to be, and just moving through it. And, celebration is one of the things that I really, really do think that we all have to do. So when you're finished a workout, I mean, you work out with us at Strong Healthy Women, and so on Monday you saw me get out the pom-poms, and did the pom-pom dance and everything like that. So I did a bit of cheerleading. So it's always something different to celebrate you, but you may not be a celebrator like that. You may not be the one who likes to get out the rah-rah skirt and the pom-poms, but you could be a celebrator who just says this quiet little, yes, I did it. And that's okay. So finding your celebration that's important to you, that makes you feel good. It could be, for you, you're going to sit and have a herbal tea, and just watch the world go by for 10 minutes. That could be your celebration. So it comes in all shapes and sizes. So, celebration is so, so important. But getting that level of support, firstly, your support starts with you, starts with those around you in your house, starts with your good girlfriends and then moves out into that wider community as well too. So think of yourself as being the inner circle. You're the most important thing, and then branch out into those outer circles.
Yeah. Well, that's been great, Peter. I just wonder if we can just, in the last few minutes, just recap over the 5 steps quickly, and then we will put the link to the booklet that you have where people can read a little bit further into that. But I just think as it's the final episode in this series, it would be good just to remind us all of the 5 steps together.
Okay, all right, so let's start. Step number 1 is why. Understanding why it's important to you. And there is an activity that I get everybody to do, which is to write down 10 reasons today why this is important to you, why your health and fitness is important to you. But then it doesn't stop with that day. You need to do it over 5 days till you've got 50 reasons, because we're going to get, you know, I want to be fit, I want to be strong, I want to be flexible, I want to have good balance. You'll get all those things out on the piece of paper in the first day, and it's going to be easy. But by the time you get to that 5th day, it becomes a little bit harder, and you're really starting to do some soul searching. And it's when you can start to look at all the soul searching and all of the reasons that you've written down, you can really, really identify why it's important to you. You know, a lot of the things that I see are that we want to dance at our granddaughter's weddings or grandson's weddings, or that we don't want to be a burden on the health system. So there are a lot of different reasons, but you'll find what it is. The other thing about why is to have it with you all the time. So you might put it on your phone, you might put it, you know, frame it and put it on your wall. So just always remind yourself of what that is. The next thing is making the decision that's right for you. So what is it that you want from a program that you're going to do? And with that decision, think about it. For many of us, we've bought a car. And so what was the decision-making process that you went through when you decided you want to make a car? So what brand is it? What model is it? You know, do you want a 4-wheel drive? Do you want on-road? Do you want a motorbike? So, yeah, just thinking about your decision from the perspective of how you would make bigger decisions in your life, because this is your health and your well-being. So it is the biggest decision, but sometimes we don't value that process. You know, is it going to be red, or is it going to be white, or is it going to be a black car? So is it going to have leather seats? Is it going to be manual or auto? So they're all the things that you want to think about when you're deciding what it is. I think what's really important is to find something that you love and enjoy, but always know this, that when it comes to aging well, you need strength, you need flexibility, and you need balance. You have to have those 3 things regardless. And that's a whole other topic in itself. Right. Yeah. And so for many of us, we go, okay, I go to Pilates once a week, or I go to yoga once a week. Well, ladies, it isn't enough. We have to do strength, balance, and flexibility, and we've got to do them. And we need to exercise every day if we want to live our best life healthy. The next thing is starting. Now, the thing about starting is that for many of us, we want to rush in guns a-blazing, but it's really important to know where you're at. So find out and understand what it is you can't do. So it could be that you can't reach a high cupboard, or you can't squat down low, or you can't do up your shoelaces. Who knows? It could be anything. But those things you can't do, this is when you write them in your journal. Because before too long, once you've started, you will start to be able to do those. And what happens is we forget how far we've come. And that's when the celebration comes in. Oh, yay, I could do up my shoelaces today, and I couldn't do that before. So you need to start where you're at and not compare yourself to somebody else, and not put judgments on yourself either. So start just doing the best that you can, and know that you're in the right place because you've made the right decision. and they're going to understand that with you. The commitment is just know that life is going to happen. And so the word motivation comes in to play a lot. I don't have motivation. And motivation, I like to call that magical, mystical unicorn, because it does come and go. So this is where it's really important to rely on that why to keep you committed. So understand that life is going to happen, and find and adapt whatever is happening in your life so that you can keep moving. So the example that I gave there was my husband was in hospital, and after 2 days I was starting to feel tired and drained. And so I went, okay, I'm missing my exercise, I'm missing my healthy eating, I need to prep some food, I need to park further away, I need to stop taking the lift, I need to walk these flights of stairs. And so that was my way of adapting and committing to my health and well-being, because I couldn't support him fully if I wasn't running on full throttle. And so I needed to be able to make that commitment to myself first and foremost. So commitment is really, really important. And then, of course, today what we talked about is getting that support team on board, starting with yourself and working out from there.
Yeah. No, that's been really good, and it's sensible, easy to follow advice, really. And it's just a matter about realizing that it will become part of our lifestyle, just like brushing our teeth. You're just moving, you're exercising, and I think sometimes we make it a bit more of a project than what we should, and just make it is part of life. That's how we live our life.
Yeah, totally, Sue. And one of the things that actually I was looking at yesterday, which I do want to jump in with, I was looking at the statistics in regards to, the percentage of our country that has heart disease and diabetes and, all of these chronic illnesses. But the interesting stats that stood out for me were 16.4% of us have a back issue, and 15% of us have arthritis. So, in knowing that, those things can be helped through exercise, but they can sometimes be the deterrent. We can say to ourselves, I've got arthritis or I've got a back pain, and so therefore I can't exercise. But knowing that your exercise will improve those things is really half the battle. So take away whatever reasons that you're giving yourself for not doing it, and focus on the reasons for doing it.
Yeah, no, I know that, I can say I had a bad back for quite some time, and it's only been through doing strength exercises and flexibility and those sort of things that it's really, I don't have a problem anymore. But there were times when I couldn't get out of bed. So, it's it will improve. You just have to find the right, in cases like that, I really think you need to reach out to a professional and get the exercises that are right for you and for that particular issue, and then you will improve. Any concluding points before we go?
I'm going to say a couple of words, which is confidence comes from connection. So connecting with yourself will give you confidence in who you are and your ability to do and live your healthiest life.
Well, that's a perfect way to end. Confidence comes with connection. I love that. So, okay, well, look, thanks so much for that. It's been a great series, and we'll have to think about another series to bring forward to everyone to help them be strong, healthy women. And I look forward to talking to you again next time.
Okay, thanks for having me, Sue. Thanks, ladies.